statutory body that is supposed to register all devices, so other products including devices, and test kits are considered devices. Since COVID started, we have actually evaluated over 60 of these devices, and only a certain number of them have been approved. If you go onto our website, you will see the devices that have been approved for use in Ghana. So I'd actually like to use this medium to ask all Ghanaians that please do not use any device that has not been registered. And secondly, that home testing using test kits are not permitted in Ghana for COVID-19. So if I come back to the testing device at the airport, it is an antigen testing system. It is not a rapid diagnostic cartridge system. So it's not like the ones that you can buy in a box and you can use yourself or that people are using at home. Sometimes people get these things confused. And this was evaluated by the Food and Drugs Authority in July 2020. Now, the difference between this device and the other ones that people tend to confuse it with is that with the other test kits, you drop your sample on it or whatever, whether it's a swab, whatever, and the line comes and you read it with your naked eye. Now, with this particular device, it is an automated fluorescence immunoassay device, which means that it detects the virus by a certain fluorescence. And there is also what we call a nanotechnology technology that makes it even more sensitive. I'm trying to describe the device in as simple terms as I can. So when you go to the airport, you see that they put a swab in your nose, they put it in a certain solution. The solution is what contains the antibody. So if you have the virus from your nose will bind onto that antibody. They then drop it onto a piece of paper. It's called a cellulose paper. They drop it when they get to the machine. It binds again onto another antibody. So you have a sandwich, what we call a sandwich. So it's called an antigen, antibody sandwich. Then they put it into the machine. Once they put it into the machine, it binds with a certain nanoparticle that is on that strip. And then it is read by the fluorescence detector. So you cannot see it with your naked eye. All that actually makes the system more sensitive and able to detect the virus. Once this reaction has taken place, then you read it on an LED screen and it is printed out. I know that they give you a certain barcode. It is not, the people who are testing don't even know whose sample they are testing. It is based on a certain barcode that we all know when we go in for testing, when we come into the country. If you want to compare this to what the minister talked about, so that is the RDT, that is called a lateral flow. It is your antigen will bind onto the antibody and then you read it with your naked eye. There's no magnification, there's no fluorescence, there is nothing. It is less sensitive. And currently, we have probably registered only about 2 of those antigen test kits, 2 or 3 of them. Now, when this device was evaluated to see whether it was suitable for its purpose, we all know that the PCR is what we call the gold standard. And therefore, in evaluating this device, we evaluated it with the PCR. That means that we took 100 samples that were positive, that had been determined as positive using the PCR, took 100 samples that had been determined as negative by PCR, and then the machine was supposed to be able to detect if it is positive by PCR, should be positive by that machine. If it is negative by PCR, it should be negative by that machine. In doing so, we then realized that this device meets our specification of not less than 99% sensitive and not less than 99% specific, which means that when you say specificity, if it is negative, it should be negative. If you say sensitivity, if it is positive, it should be positive. That was how that device was registered. Another thing that we noticed on that particular device was that even with low viral loads, that means that when you have very little of the virus in you, so there's something called a cycle threshold, the device was able to detect even very low viral loads. That was one of the bases for which we actually registered that device. And that device has full authorization, not emergency use. We have 2 kinds. Emergency use is when we just give you a year. Then we continue to monitor, and then we see how it performs. This device has full authorization. I know there are questions about what about the circulating strains? Can this device detect? I can assure you that the test kits that people are using cannot detect strains. So all the other strains that are circulating, Delta, Gamma, and all the others, those test kits cannot detect them. However, as standard practice, when a device is registered, and that happened with a device at the airport, we demand that if there's any new circulating strain, the manufacturer of the device has to test that device with the circulating strain and let us know whether it can or it cannot. And we go to the site to go and verify. So we receive that information and then we go and verify. So with this device at the airport, that was the case. And throughout the pandemic, the device has constantly informed the manufacturer, and the company has constantly informed the FDA when there's a strain change, and we will go there and we'll go and verify the documentation that they have sent us to ensure that it is correct. We know that so far all the strains that are circulating, if you see the coronavirus as a drawing, you see it's like a round thing and then there are spikes on it. Most of the strains that are circulating, all the strains that are circulating, the mutation is on the spikes of the virus. This particular equipment detects the round part of the virus. Okay, it's called the envelope, the protein envelope. So currently it's called the nucleoprotein. So currently the device has not been affected by any of the circulating strains. And therefore the performance of this system is not affected by Delta, by Zeta, by Gamma, Alpha, any of the strains. Until there is a mutation that occurs on the actual envelope, it will not be affected. The test will not, at the airport, will still give you the correct results. And actually, you notice that all the sequencing that the West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens has been doing, the airport device will catch the passenger as being positive, and when they go and test and they sequence, they find out that those strains have been picked up by the testing system at the airport. Now, after a product is evaluated by us, we don't just sit down and leave them to do their work as they want. In accordance with our conditions of approval, we periodically inspect the facility, the testing facility, and we will ensure that the device that was registered continues to perform as was registered. This ensures that the people have a good quality management system in place. They are not transferring infections from one person to the other. They are doing the work as they should do it to ensure that all the results that come out are valid and ensure that the integrity of the device is maintained. Some of the things that they do is, we look at is that from the time they pick up a sample from the traveler to the time that they issue a report, there should be a proper quality management system in place. And when we go, we can actually sometimes pick up a particular report and run through it from beginning to the end to ensure that everything that was supposed to happen according to their standard operative procedures are done. We can even pick a report from about 3 months before and tell them to show us exactly which machine, and it shows, and we are holding it, and they can actually follow it through. Since testing started, I think in September last year, we have conducted 5 such inspections. Normally we should be conducting inspections every quarter, but when it first started on the 1st of September, we were there on the 2nd of September, and we have been there constantly, and the last inspection was on the 28th of July. The testing facility themselves, before they start work, they have to do their daily system check. Therefore, before they start using the machine, they will check it, they will ensure that they have what you call the positive and the negative controls. They will run it to ensure that for that day, the machine will give the correct result. And when we go to do inspections, all those things have to be logged in for us to be able to verify that it was done. So far, we have not had any critical findings during these inspections. However, we have always recommended for continuous improvement. So that they do, and anything that we recommend that they do, they have done it. So far we have not had any issues with the system at the airport. We even actually ask them that if you read a report, we have something called the 4I principle. Somebody else has to verify it before you issue the report out, and they are doing that. We are assuring Ghanaians that we will continue to monitor that particular system and any other device that we register for use, and will ensure that the quality management system that is required for the device integrity to be maintained and for the results that come out of that system to be credible will be so. And if anybody has any questions after this on the integrity of the device or the monitoring that we do or the evaluation that we did, please, I'll be very happy to answer questions.